mazungumzo itafanyika nje ya bunge. Itakuwa wakilishi ni wa bunge, lakini nje ya bunge, kama ile bwana Kofi Annan. Na kama wameshakuelewana, hiyo itapelekwa ndani ya bunge kupitishwa. Sawa sawa.
All right, mazungumzo will take the format of Kofi Annan. I was listening to Deputy Speaker. Allow me just to get an intervention from Fred, then I'll get back to you. And first of all, Fred...
I hadn't finished my...
Yes, I'll give you an opportunity.
One more explanation.
I'll give you an opportunity, please, Deputy Speaker. Fred, so you're saying that the talks should take the format of Kofi Annan. If you look at those conversations, they ended up with the National Accord and Reconciliation Act that stipulated how power was going to be shared, sharing of government positions, whether it's the Prime Minister position, the Deputy Prime Ministers, and then Cabinet Secretaries. So if you are to have another format that looks like Kofi Annan, to what end? Yet we are not in similar circumstances like we were in 2008.
Okay, maybe before I answer that, let me just respond to something very fast on what my two colleagues said. Kenya Kwanza told us that in their plan, they say that the battle is between the farmers needing, higher productivity and the consumer who want lower prices. That balance, that's what they have been trying to justify, explaining why we must not go lower to a certain limit. But they're forgetting also that even these farmers are also consumers. So I'm asking them again, let's go for lowering cost of food to everyone. Number two, Deputy Speaker Honorable Sholei told us here that those who are carrying sufurias in their heads are lazy. You know, when your sufuria is full, you are likely to perceive those who don't have as lazy. Majority of Kenyans who are out there, who are crying for food every day, who this morning probably did not have anything to eat, they're not lazy, they don't have. And we are saying we would want a situation where we address this as a matter of urgency. And lastly, they also said that we are using so much money to mobilize people, and why don't we take this money to Kibra and so on and so forth. Initially, they said this money is being mobilized by President Uhuru Kenyatta. Now they are saying it's our members of parliament who are using this, who are getting money to mobilize. I think they need to stick to a narrative if they want to play politics, and play it instead of going this left, going this right.
So how are you mobilizing?
The people who are angry will come out on their own volition to participate.
You don't spend any money?
No money is being spent on mobilization, and that is the fact. The cars are they are driven by their owners. The owners fuel them. Raila Odinga fuels his car. Kalonzo fuels his car. Martha Karua fuels her car. All the principles. And the people who are participating in this also fuel their car for those who have cars. So I'm saying that these Azimio peaceful demonstrations are not funded by anyone. But let me go back to what you have asked, Sam. We are going into these talks, bipartisan talks, holding the high belief that our intentions are pure, our goals are patriotic, and the people of Kenya are sovereign. We believe that this is for the people of Kenya. And we are telling them that because we want an inclusive, participatory, and meaningful conversation, then these conversations must take place in a form of extra-parliamentary. When Raila Odinga says that these conversations should be akin to the national dialogue that was led by Kofi Annan, is not saying they must be like the ones for Kofi Annan. They should be like. The participant in that time, Sally Kosgei, William Ruto, James Orengo, and the rest were all members of parliament. Martha Karua, they were all members of parliament. But that discussion happened outside parliament, Serena talks. Then those resolutions were taken to parliament. We are saying, because we do not trust that the process that is purely parliamentary will yield to the demands of the people, we would want a participatory and inclusive process outside parliament. On Thursday, when we had a citizen consultative meeting, the people told us, the representatives of the citizens, Wasu, civil society, youth leaders, students, they told us they would want to see a process where their views are incorporated. Remember, this is a public process. It must take the format of the public. And we have asked our colleagues.
Who do you want to join those talks?
We are saying that we agree. When Honorable Ruto reached out to Azimio and asked us to stand down on our peaceful demonstrations, and we heeded to that call.
He reached out?
Yes, he did. And we said that Sam, let's stick to the point. And we said, that we are going to give dialogue a chance, because even the religious communities had reached out, and they said, especially during this month of Ramadan and the Easter then, we said that we have listened. He said that he has listened to what we are saying. Initially, he said he was struggling to listen to what we are saying. Now that he had listened, and he acknowledged that the issues need to be addressed. But we told them in a rejoinder as a counter offer that we are going to accept a process that is inclusive. And that process, we gave 4 conditions. We said the cost of living is something that must be addressed. We said the servers is something that must be addressed. We said we must look at the process that was ongoing then of recruiting IBC commissioners. And then we said we must look at the state of the multi-party democracy in this country. We have seen our members being invited the other side. Even today, they are actually belittling this process by including Azimio members of parliament in their team. That is what we are saying, that we don't believe in a process that is purely parliamentary.
You just said that there are other stakeholders that want to join the process. You've listed your agenda: cost of living, opening the servers, IBC recruitment, and multi-party democracy. So what is UWASU to do to talks that are
we
in parliament?
are not saying UWASU must be there, so but we are saying we must listen to every stakeholder. They have issues that they would want to be addressed. They have brought their issues.
Of an talk.
No. Some don't stick to the format of an talk. We said like. And this is where we miss it. Okay. Because when people say that we want an talk, no. We are saying these discussions must be extra parliamentary. Extra parliamentary in the sense that they must be experts involved, there must be public giving their views, and those must be consolidated and taken to parliament.
Views about
just hold on.
About opening servers?
No. Why not? Why not? The public want the servers opened. Why not?
You said you consulted the public.
We have consulted the public all along.
So what are they coming to say? You already know what they say.
No.
Some, let me tell you, and I want to say this without fear of contradiction. The public out there, they believe that the parliament that we have today, having seen how some members from political side are being pushed towards the other side to achieve a 2/3 threshold, they believe that the process that is purely parliamentary will not achieve what they want. And that is why the public have asked us in our meetings, as you go ahead with these discussions, also listen to us. This is about the public. And that's why we are saying we are going to these talks with a high belief that our intentions are pure. And we're also saying the people are sovereign. So if you exclude the people from this process and take it purely parliamentary, as our colleagues are telling us, then you're going to miss the point. Okay. But we are saying it can be led by parliamentarians, supported by experts, as a product of public participation. Okay. That's what we are saying.
All right. Deputy Speaker, you wanted to say something?
Yes,
sorry for cutting you short earlier.
Yes, I wanted to say that he knows that Article 3 expects him to uphold, protect, and obey the Constitution of the Republic.
And defend.
And defend.
Correct.
Yes? So the issue is, whatever he's speaking about, you must make sure that it's within the law. And that is why if you look at the Kenya Kwanza Parliamentary Group statement, is that we are going to have the bipartisan talks within the Constitution and the laws of Kenya, period. We are not going to undertake any extra legal steps. When you recommend that you want the Kofi Annan, like the Kofi Annan format, the Kofi Annan format was because it was different circumstances. We do not have the same circumstances at the moment. During the time the Kofi Annan process came in is where we had the chairperson of the Electoral Commission who said he did not know who won the election. In this case, no less than the Supreme Court of Kenya has confirmed the result. So that is a dead and end issue. Within the law, that chapter is closed. When you hear them talk about the Kofi Annan issue, really what Raila Odinga is asking, he's not asking that he would like to have the cost of living to come down or to help Kenyans. No, he's just using that to whip up support from Kenyans. Actually, when he talks about Kofi Annan, he wants to be prime minister. He wants a situation where we go back to parliament, we go talk to people, and then come back. And yes, that's the only thing that is different.
Raila Odinga is really the prime minister.
Yes, he wants to be. That is what Kofi Annan talks did. It gave him the position. So he should just come out and tell us he wants the position of prime minister. Because why else is he trying to raise the issue of the server? Because he knows very well
that he won the election.
The Supreme Court has confirmed that we won the election. So end of story. We are not discussing. When you talk about the server again, this is just misleading Kenyans. And these guys are so good at propaganda. Just listening to Okango now, I'm impressed. Actually, if I needed somebody to do propaganda for me, I'd definitely hire you.
Madam Speaker, you can't say that.
Actually, I don't think he's actually even good in propaganda. How many Kenyans can buy what he says?
Yes. No, but here talking about it, he's convinced himself. So when you talk about, when you say that you want to have the bipartisan talks so that you can, people must be consulted, the public want to be involved, he knows very well that under the Constitution and the laws of Kenya, even when we have the bipartisan talks, or any law being amended in Parliament, it goes to public participation for no less than 90 days. You go across the country. You'll go from county to county. So those people who want to, the public will have an opportunity. It doesn't mean if it's in Parliament, it ends with Parliament. Parliament is required by law and the Constitution to go to public participation. So don't mislead Kenyans that a parliamentary process is going to exclude members of the public. And when it goes to the public, those matters are recorded on the Hansard. They are public record, and so we will hear what Kenyans are saying. When you say that, we want to be supported by a team of experts, the truth is, and again, let me educate you so that you know what happens. When there is even a committee in Parliament, if it has members of Parliament, it has technical experts that back it. So there's always technical experts who are consulted. Even this bipartisan committee, if you want to have 100 of the technical experts to support your 7 members as Azimio, no one stops you from doing that. And in fact, you can even ask for adjournment of the meeting to go and consult your experts. So it doesn't mean that because you have a 14-person committee that you will exclude experts. You will be free to consult experts as you wish, and that has always been the case in any committee, in any task force, in any such forum in Kenya. So I don't think do not mislead Kenyans about that situation. When you say that, again, don't mislead Kenyans by saying the peaceful Azimio rallies, the demonstrations, there was no peaceful Azimio rallies. Those were not protests, those were vandalism, those were robbers, because that's what happened.
Who did the vandalism?
Let me finish. Let me finish. The point is, the point is that when those rallies happened, they were not peaceful. We know that people's shops were robbed. We know that people's homes were robbed. People were attacked. People were mugged. And worst of all is that people closed their shops also, which means you are actually stopping the economy from moving, in which case you're the ones actually causing the worsening of the economic situation.
Okay.
So we can't have let you have your cake and eat it.
We don't go into blame game, because
Yes.
I'm also... I read both statements of Raila Odinga and the president saying that it doesn't matter who is right or wrong. So let's just focus.
But Sam, it's not a matter of a blame game.
Right.
What I want is, my fear is we are sitting in this station and Kenyans are being lied to. It is my responsibility also to correct it.
Okay.
When he talks about the cost of salt, I think you didn't know the figure. It's at Carrefour, it's 63 shillings for 2 kg.
That's a 2 kg. I'm talking about 500 grams, and I was very clear about that.
It's 15 shillings, not 20.
Some.
Just hold on. We haven't heard from Honorable Kagusha here, but first I want to hear from what the president said about these talks and why Parliament should be given the opportunity to lead.
Walete kamati yao, sisi tumetengeneza kamati yetu, waketi chini, waongee ile watakubaliana, tupeleke Kenya mbele, lakini waniwachie nafasi nipange mambo ya maendeleo ya taifa letu la Kenya na wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya.
Honorable Kagusha, there's a lot of suspicion in the whole thing, to the extent that you wonder, okay, will there be a solution or not? Because when the protests were called off, the statements from both the president and Raila Odinga, you'd have thought that now a bit of sanity is returning. But as soon, like I think it was just about 2 days, and everyone else started speaking against the others, saying they're the ones who came, reached out to us, or who reached out to the other. Now we're at a point that we're actually not sure if there'll be any meaningful conversation in that committee of 14.
You know, when the president did put, or when the Kenya Kwanza did put in place the 7-member committee, the president also requested Honorable Sholei here and myself to assist that committee on legal matters, to be the legal counsel for the committee. And, you know, even based on that, I would like to probably just advise my brother here, Okango. We have the issue of, he talks of the talks, and Raila Odinga has said as much, that they want the talks to be done outside the parliament. And to me, Honorable Sholei, because we should be giving legal advice to these our teams, I think it's a matter of venue. What these people are talking about is the venue, yeah? Because what they're actually asking for is something that I think we can give them. If they want the talks to be done in Serena, the same room that Kofi Annan,
Fungamano.
Yeah, or Fungamano. If you want the talks to be done at Kenyatta Avenue or Tomboya Street, I mean, that can be done. We can organize, we can arrange, even at Kencom, yeah? And then we have our 7 members there, and your 7 members here. And then
at Kencom?
Yeah, at Kencom. There's no problem. And then you have your public, and then you can have your Paul Mwangi at the back there with yourself, Okango. You can also be a very good expert. You can be at the back there, and if you hear maybe like Omolo is not saying what you want, you write him a piece of paper and give him as an expert. And as we'll be here processing on the legal issues that you need to be looking at, I think the issue of the venue really shouldn't be an issue. And the issue
you actually think that's what he's saying?
Yeah, you know, they're talking off, you see, because it's like we are saying the same thing. Because they're saying we have no problem, it can be parliamentarians. That's what Raila Odinga said. It can be parliamentarians doing these talks, but it must be done outside parliament. I mean, that can be given. I don't think there's a problem with that.
Parliamentary committees are held outside parliament.
That is it. There's no problem whatsoever. We can actually choose the same room that Kofi Annan did.
Is that what you mean, Fred?
Some.
But you know, I want you to replay the Odinga's...
I think we are trivializing this issue. If you listen to Honorable Kagusha, he's actually trivializing an important issue. And Kenyans watching him are wondering, a member of parliament... A member of parliament...
What is it that you want?
Honorable Kagusha, allow him.
You know, we are also taught to debate. This is an issue that Kenyans are concerned about. It's an issue that is affecting their life. It's an issue that they'd want addressed conclusively, not bandaging, as Honorable Speaker had said earlier on another issue. The talks is not about the venue only. In fact, one of the resolutions from Fungamano was the venue should be neutral. We believe, we strongly believe that the members of parliament are in a position to conduct these talks. But we also believe that so that we have conclusive, participatory, and meaningful talks, it must be extra parliamentary. That is what Honorable Kagusha and team are fearing.
So extra parliamentary, please define that.
Extra parliamentary, let me define for the benefit of Honorable Kagusha. It means that there must be input not only inside parliament, but also from outside parliament.
And what are we saying? You know, some...
From the start, not after the talks. From the start.
I think we are saying the same thing. And really, I don't see anything wrong with that.
But don't say Kencom to trivialize the whole issue, really? Honorable member.
But what I'm saying is, we can have these talks done anywhere. We can have these talks done anywhere. If you
can even have them at State House, right?
If you think doing talks at Kencom, where the public is, the same public that you're talking about, that we want them to participate, if you think that is trivializing, then it means you're also not understanding. It means
you go to the streets
yeah, are you getting? It can be done anywhere. and as much as you want. If you want it to be done in the same room where Kofi Annan did his talks, it can be done. The only issue is it will be done by the parliamentarians. You are 7, and the 7, we are calling them the 7 aside. That's okay. And then you can also bring the input of your experts as much as you want. But let me tell you, Okango said that they are doing this with pure intentions. Pure intention. And he has said that, he has repeated that 4 times until I started asking myself, what do you mean by pure intentions? There's nothing like pure intentions in this. I'm telling you, Sam, whatever you give Raila Odinga and his brigade, whatever you give them, they will not take it. Reason? Even what they're asking for is not what they're asking for. I mean, they said...
What are they asking for?
So you're also advising us again?
You know...
Fred, allow him to
these guys,
finish.
What they are saying, what they are putting here on the table is really not what they are looking for. You can only be able to decode what they are looking for based on some of the utterances that they are saying. Sometimes you can be able to decode. For example, Raila Odinga has asked for dialogue. He has been given dialogue. Are we together? And he said he will only come off the streets when he's given dialogue. He's been given dialogue. Raila Odinga,
of the streets.
Are you getting? Raila Odinga said that his biggest problem was the issue of IEBC, the composition of IEBC. The president has said, well, so be it. We can be able to relook at that. We can look at the composition. In fact, you can even bring even your brother or your sister to be the chairman of IEBC. I mean, there's no problem with that. Are you getting? No, what I'm saying is this. We'll give it to you. What is it that you want about IEBC? We'll give it to you. Let us have a sitting and tell us what you want. And then you'll be given. Now, he has talked about the cost of living, and he says he wants the cost of living to come down. He wants the price of unga to come down. He wasn't stating the amount. The president has worked so hard to bring the cost of unga from 230 to 180. He has confessed that he was able to find where he can be able to buy at 182. Now he promises he's going to bring the cost of unga to 150. Now, they have now come and said, because the president has stated figures, we now don't want it at 150. We want it at 100. Are you getting? I mean, these guys, whatever they are asking for, even if they are given everything, like now has been done, they will not be satisfied. They will still go to the road. They will still go to the streets. Why do you think they're doing that? Because they are using that as a smoke screen. It is a facade. It's something that they're trying to hide behind. What they actually want is nusu mkate. By the way, initially, we thought that Raila Odinga was looking for a handshake or a handshake. That's what we thought. But now what is appearing as we are moving on is that he's actually not even looking for a handshake or a handshake. He's looking for nusu mkate. He's looking at 50-50 sharing of government. He's looking at the accord. He has mentioned it now more than 3 times in public rallies that he wants something like the accord talks, the Kofi Annan. Never mind, Kofi Annan is no more. Are you getting? My friend, these guys, whatever you give them, they won't take it.
I hear you.
They won't take it.
To Raila Odinga and Kalonzo Musyoka about the way forward in as far as these conversations are concerned.
Sasa tumekubali mazungumzo ziendelee, lakini mimi nakubaliana na pendekezo ambayo imetoka hapa siku ya leo. Ati mazungumzo yaendelee. Mazungumzo yaendelee. Na maandamano sambamba. Tunangoja Ramadhani ishe. Ramadhani kisha namna hii tutatangaza. Tutatangaza. Na mtaitika.
Denial that this is it, we are not on it, and we can only discuss IEBC reconstitution. That's what makes me think they are not serious about dialogue.
All right, so Fred, your coalition leaders are talking about going back to the streets and also being dissatisfied that these conversations will only be about IEBC. And I'm wondering, who has said that?
Okay. Allow me just to respond 1 minute on what Honorable Gosha said. If you recall, before Honorable Ruto made the announcement of UNGA going to 150 in the coming weeks, 2 weeks ago, I think a week or 2 weeks ago, at SKM Command Center, we did give a statement. Now, that statement is public. And we said we would want to see Kenya regime lower the cost of UNGA to 100 where it was before election. The House, you are the regime that is in power, and now you know what to do. Now, on the issue of cost of living, this we have talked about it. On the issue of IEBC that you are now asking, let me go there.
No, I'm asking because Kalonzo Musyoka is saying that they are not serious because they're
exactly
to IEBC.
We have listened to the Kenya Kwanza leaders. Majority of them, before have said, the discussions that they will have with Azimio la Umoja One Kenya is on the issue of IEBC. And they said the issue of cost of living, they are fixing. Any other issue like electoral justice had been dispensed. That's what they said. So if you look at their preparedness, their level of preparedness, or their readiness, or their willingness to engage, we are doubting if for sure our friends from the other side are willing to participate in a process that is going to address all our issues that we are putting on the table. We have said...
But do you trust your 7 representatives?
We do, 100%.
Can you send them with the agenda?
We do 100%, and that's why we have developed a framework of engagement as per our side, and we have given them what the public has told us.
So why not wait for them to meet their counterparts?
Now, we are going there. Now, let me answer that.
So I can clarify the situation.
We have said that, and we said this from the onset. On 2nd of April, when we welcomed the idea of dialogue after they reached out to us, and we said, we shall give dialogue a chance. However, subsequent communication, we did say that should we sense that you are not serious in these engagement processes, then we shall go back to the people so that we ask the people, or we explain to the people that our standing down has been interfered with their unseriousness to discuss. So all these signs have been there. We have seen signs when they talk chest thumping and saying, we shall only address IEBC, while we have put 4 or 5 things on the table. They are saying,
I hear you, Fred.
They are saying, let me just finish. They are saying that any other thing is not important. The cost of living they are fixing. Never mind, they are not fixing. We are saying to them that everything that we have put as is carrying equal weight and will be on the table, and we have instructed our people that that must be on the table.
Okay, I hear you.
Just allow me, I think Honorable Gakusha has allowed me to take his turn. Just let's clarify something. I think what Mr. Okango is saying is he's basically speculating, and the things the statements he's making are premature. By the way, I can confirm to you that the bipartisan talks are yet to begin.
Of course, yeah. Sure.
The names of the 7 by Kenya Kwanza have already been transmitted to Parliament, to the Speaker's desk. Immediately after they had a parliamentary group meeting. So far, I know as at Friday, the letter from Azimio was being awaited, the formal letter, because the communication that is existing now on the 7 members or the 14 experts and so on is in the media. It's not yet arrived in Parliament. I know that probably they haven't told you that, but that is, let me explain to you that that's the situation. Hopefully today, that letter shall arrive. And when it does, then the Speaker shall then announce it in Parliament and then make that communication to the full House, and then a meeting shall follow. When the meeting follows, the Azimio group can give their list of demands or what they want on the table. The Kenya Kwanza side will give their list that this is what we want to be discussed. They shall then have a conversation as to this we can discuss, this has nothing to do with what are the terms of reference and so on. So all that will be discussed. What is legally within their docket and what is not. Because also there are some things that they have no power to do. So let us wait for that to come before that. Because if one of the demands is, and this is just an example, is that if one of the demands is open the server, then that might have to be directed to IEBC or to the Supreme Court, because that's not, Parliament has no ability to open the server. So, but that's a discussion they can have in that committee.
Okay.
So let's wait for everything to come before.
So let me get this
committee.
based on parliamentary procedures. So the names of the 7 have come. So it's supposed to be in form of a motion or what?
No, first it comes in form, it is communicated to the Speaker.
Okay.
Just by a forwarding letter. By Kenya Kwanza say for the bipartisan talks, these are our 7 members. There'll be a letter saying this is the assisting council that we have recommended. There will also be a similar letter from Azimio. Then the Speaker will read a communication in the House. You know, when something is happening, if a committee is being set up or a task force, or there is vetting of CSs that's supposed to happen, it's communicated. Once he receives a letter from the President's desk, he then communicates to the House. So anything that, any items that are supposed to go to a committee will normally be, because remember, a committee is Parliament.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's actually a sitting of Parliament.
yes,
And
so
it will take
communication from the
it
chair.
will take the format of an ad hoc committee of Parliament.
Of Parliament.
So
which is provided
who will
for in
determine
the
terms of reference of that ad hoc committee?
Already, in the statements by each of the
parties.
party leaders, they've sort of proposed the terms of reference. And those terms of reference shall come before the committee, and then the committee can fine-tune them and come up with a format of it.
That's
And you
what I'm
might
asking.
find that the chairperson of that committee may report to the House, the full House, from time to time. They may come and say, we're now communicating that these are the terms of reference that have been agreed on, and this is the schedule that we shall have. We shall undertake public participation starting from this date to that date. It's also announced in the newspaper. So it's very
So
structured.
Once
it's very structured.
Once it is created by the House, the Speaker needs to assign them a duty, no?
Sorry?
Once that committee has been created by the House, the Speaker will assign them the assignment they're supposed to be undertaking.
It's a ad hoc by party. You know, like committees of Parliament ordinarily have their terms of reference or their mandate in the standing orders. But in this case, because it's an ad hoc committee, then you will find that the reason or the basis upon which the committee was established normally has the draft, we can call them draft terms of reference, which will be ratified and endorsed by the committee at their first sitting.
Okay.
Yes. So let's wait for that first sitting of the committee. Yes.
But
So it cannot be dictated by me or him.
But unfortunately, now you see, the Azimio side is already trashing the bipartisan committee.
Before we go there, so what needs to happen if the talks are supposed to be extra parliamentary, led by parliamentarians but outside Parliament? How does that work?
I think so far the agreement is that it's a bipartisan committee of Parliament.
Okay.
Yes, that's the agreement. The issue of having it outside, I don't know what outside Parliament means, because remember, Parliament, like we said, for any law that is amended in Kenya or passed in Kenya, the relevant committee goes to public participation. So it has never excluded people outside Parliament, never.
Okay.
It is standard. And the public participation is announced in the newspapers, it is announced on radios, it is held in various counties. Certain stakeholders are allowed, like political parties, for example, will be allowed to come and give their views and so on.
All right.
That assertion of extra parliamentary is an ambiguous term. Because if you look at the whole of this process, the way it is being pushed, this process is being pushed in a way that the pushers, they do not expect it to achieve much. That's why they're giving ambiguous terms. Because, like, for example, when you say it's extra parliamentary, what I mean is this. What these guys are saying is not what they mean.
No, you just said pushers. What pushers?
The Azimio side. You know, they are pushing for talks. But when they are pushing for talks, when the president or even the Kenya Kwanza side gives in and says, let's have talks, you know, gives in, let's have talks. Then, and they are the ones who have given the terms of the talks, and then we accept that. Again, they don't want it. They also want to frustrate it. Why? Because what they're asking for on the surface is not really what they are looking for. If we give them everything they are asking for, they will still not be satisfied. Because what they are asking for is what they are not saying. I hope you get me. What they are asking for is what they are not saying with their word of mouth. You can only infer from their actions.
Okay, and I heard you clearly saying what it is.
And you see, that is the way they are also fooling Kenyans.
Okay.
Are you getting?
All right.
And that is why
All right,
even the people who are going to the roads,
yes,
or who are going for the demos,
yes,
they sometimes make them believe that they are going to the demos because of their own good, because of their own agenda, because of their own issues. But in actual sense, they are only escorting. They are only escorting the elite to go and make a bargain for themselves. Look at the issue, for example, of opening the servers. I mean, how on earth are you asking for opening? You know that is the most impossible thing that you can ask for. So you ask for that which you know it cannot be achieved. Because if you're talking of opening the servers, this is something that had been granted by the Supreme Court, and they were all asked to go and participate in it, and it was done. Now, if you go to the president and ask him in State House, open the servers, what are you telling him?
He doesn't control the servers.
Fred,
you know very well he cannot achieve anything on that.
I have to give you the right of reply.
Absolutely.
And how exactly do you plan to have the servers opened?
Some. You know, Honorable Kagusha, after listening to him speak, actually is the propagandist. Because he says, he even imagine that he knows what we want. I think that's a story for another day. I'll call him for tea, and I'll tell him that what he's saying is not what we want. What we want is what Kenyans want. Now, the servers... He's my friend, you know.
Let's put everything on the table so that Kenyans can hear.
What Kagusha is saying is trying to imagine that there's something that we want. He says we want a nusu mkate. We don't want a nusu mkate. We have said all along that we don't want a nusu mkate. And we have given our conditions. We have given what we want, the demands. But you have asked a very important question on the server. Honorable Kagusha knows that every Kenyan has a right to access to information. The information in that server is information that Kenyans want to know. He knows that. And again, we have never said that it is Honorable Ruto who must go and open the servers. We have said we would want the servers open. We know that IEBC, in their mandates and guided by the Constitution, that demands of them to conduct elections that are free, fair, credible, transparent, and accountable, they have a duty to tell Kenyans the truth. But because Honorable Boshole has explained the processes, and she gave an example, if there's an issue that will require that it must be addressed from elsewhere, then that will be addressed. But as it is today, we are putting this on the table, and we are saying the servers, because the information is there, and these servers, because it has got content that Kenyans don't know. We have whistleblowers report. So that whistleblower report... My
simple, specific question is,
yes,
how do you expect them to be open?
We expect the IEBC to open the server. That's it.
Have you written to IEBC?
We expect the IEBC to open the server. And we have said it more than once.
What will that take? Because you can either request, you can either file a petition in court, or what will it take to have them?
I can tell you what it takes to do it, Sam. What happens?
Can I finish so that...
Open the servers. No, let me explain.
No.
Because
I was on the floor, so I finished.
No, last time I allowed you to interject. Allow me to interject, please.
It's fine. Go ahead.
Because this is very important. If you remember, during the Supreme Court hearing of the presidential election petition, the Azimio side applied to the court to be allowed to open the servers. In fact, they asked for passwords, the protocols, they asked for who signs in and who doesn't sign in, and so on and so on. The court said we can't completely, it's insecure to completely give you the passwords and even the names of the persons who have the passwords, because you could kill them. And, you know, that was says it puts their life in danger. The Supreme Court said that. Those are my words. So the Supreme Court then gave an order that experts, together with all the agents of the presidential candidates, can appear before IEBC at a set location to be able to access the server. And in fact, we did. We all appeared. You were not there. I was there. We all appeared at Anniversary Towers. We went and had access to the server. Azimio had a big contingent of experts. In fact, I still remember they had people who had those glasses that record things. Yeah, so they had all this contingent of people. They were allowed to view the server, we were allowed to query the system, and so on. And after that, and the Supreme Court also had a team of experts, including IT experts, who were representing the Supreme Court together by various deputy registrars of the Supreme Court. They did appear there, and their lawyers, they appeared there, also took, and then there was a report that was produced. That report formed part of the documents that were presented before the Supreme Court. And both parties argued on that report, ICT report.
And they signed it.
And they all signed it. And after that, if you read the judgment of the Supreme Court, they speak to that particular report. So the servers were already opened. If they feel that they have new information that they would like to be relooked at, actually, again, the law says that you can go back to the Supreme Court and ask for review of their judgment. You can ask the same court to review its own judgment on account of having new information that was not available at the time. So that is the route.
Would that still work?
Free legal advice.
So can I finish my statement?
Just hold on. Would that still work for a presidential election petition that is already closed within timelines?
They can. The court will then decide whether it's something that they can open or not. But you're free to actually apply back to the court. Okay. So they should have done that when they have that information. Go back to the Supreme Court. You can, because the opening of the server already happened. You may find that the Supreme Court might say the matter it's already been dealt with because they did ask for the opening of the server. Okay. But if they feel it's new information, they can do that. But also, just to put it simply, and I will never tire to continue to say this to Kenyans, the polling station is the server because the voting happened at the polling station. The identification of voters happened at the polling station. The counting of the votes happened at the polling station. The announcement of the result happened at the polling station. So if actually the real server, for really what it is to say, this is the video announcement I have and the paper announcement of what was announced at the polling station. But actually, what was put there in Bomas, in the tally, was a different figure. Okay. And that process, again, we already went through it at Bomas. That's what we were doing in Bomas. In Bomas, we were confirming, this is the announcement at the polling station. This is my form, from my copy from my agent. They had the copy from the agent. Then you compare with what's on the portal, and you compare with what has been recorded by IEBC. Okay. So already those processes have happened, okay, but it will be okay to rediscuss it again in the committee. Then you'll see if you're satisfied. And as we said, at that time, it will be decided what can be done by the committee and what can be done by other third parties.
That's clear. Fred, you were making a point, but you were disrupted before.
Yes, I'm sorry. But I hope I've clarified it.
Is one of the leaders I really respect, and I adore what she does. But having said that, we are not only asking for opening the server, we're also asking for forensic audit before, during, and after the entire IBC infrastructure. So it's not just about opening. And I think that's a discussion that we cannot finish here. But let's continue and say this.
Forensic audit? By
yes.
By who?
Experts who do forensic audit, impartial experts who do forensic audit.
You want that to be commissioned by the committee or what?
That is a proposal we have given. They have said they'll come with a proposal. We listen to their proposal on the same subject, and we shall proceed from there. But as it is now, we have said we are demanding or asking for a forensic audit before, during, and after of the entire IBC infrastructure. But some...
No. What do you expect
That's in the exit report.
Pardon?
What do you expect to find?
We want to know the truth about the election.
There's an exit report already done.
You know, Fred, wait. You have said that you have a whistleblower's report that tells you that you won the election. You now want a forensic audit on the election itself to know the truth. What is the truth?
The whistleblower report came much later.
It is in your hands now.
That whistleblower report, we have told the public this is what we have.
Do you believe it?
And we are saying, because as we believe it, them they don't believe it, we have asked them, open the server, then let's do a forensic audit before, during, and after, based on the whistleblower report. They are scared about it. But you know what? She has said that that can be tabled in the committee. We have agreed that for us, we shall bring it as part of the issues that we want addressed. Let's leave it there for now. But I want to go back to an issue of Smartmatic letter that was written, and it has been public, we know about it. When people tell us that the servers were long open and this was done and it was dispensed and it was exhausted, while the issues of property rights came out of this letter, what are they telling us? We are asking the people of Kenya. You can now see the nature of deceit. You can now see the level of deceit that we are dealing with in this country. We want the people of Kenya to wake up one day again and go back and vote, and their vote shall count. As it is today, we believe that elections are sacred and the voices of people must be counted. So as it is now, we have put that on the table. How we wish that they listen to us instead of being scared. Because,
you know, Fred,
opening
you
it,
believe the election was manipulated?
Some. I've told you, and I'm telling the public on this noble show, that the whistleblower report has made us
as a person,
believe that there is a problem. And we don't agree with that outcome of the court, even though we respect it. And that's why we have said, let's go and open these servers so that we can actually know exactly what happened.
But I'm sure the whistleblower opened the server, hacked the server to give them that report, right?
Honorable Boss,
or how did they get it?
Fred, I'm asking you a question. You think the election was manipulated?
I think so.
How?
Because there's another report.
No. How was it manipulated?
Some. Are you trying to ask me to give you the context of this whistleblower report, in short?
I am asking you. You said the election...
So what I'm telling you, Azimio la Umoja One Kenya believes and is convinced that this election did not go as per the general principle of electoral system that require that it must be transparent. It was not transparent. It was not accountable. It was not simple. It was not... You know, all these things that we want.
That's a blanket statement.
No, it is not. It's very specific.
How was it manipulated?
It was not transparent. Let me take you, for example.
Tell me how it was manipulated.
It was manipulated because even the commissioners themselves never agreed. The four said that this was different, the others said it was different.
You know, Sam...
Fred, how was it manipulated?
I have told you, our report, or rather the whistleblower report, that is in our...
Here, you are.
I am here and I'm telling you, because of that content of the whistleblower report, we strongly believe, and because of the nature of engagement among the commissioners, we believe, and because of our evidence that we presented that was trashed, we also believe that this election was not according to the general principles of electoral system. That is what we believe.
Do you know how the election was manipulated? Yes or no?
I will not answer that today.
It's not a yes.
No, I will not answer that.
I think these guys are starting to look like clowns in the sense that, in fact, you will start making Kenyans get very angry with you. This whistleblower's report is very simple. Numbers don't lie. Honorable Sholei here has re-emphasized on the point that the correct and very important and perfect and accurate server was at the polling station. This whistleblower, let him, or the content that you people have, just reveal to Kenyans and tell them the whistleblower has revealed to us that in Tambaya Primary School,
that has been done.
In Tambaya Primary School, okay, yeah, it just need to come out. Tambaya Primary School in Mukurweini, yeah, Raila Odinga had this number of votes, but this is what we found in the server. Are you getting? Honorable Ruto had this number of votes, and this is what we got in the server. So let us just get to know at the polling station. Don't give us generalities and those things.
I agree.
Hiding behind. Just tell us on that polling station, on this particular polling station, this is what we now find through the whistleblower. This is what our agent signed. And this is how it differs with what is in the server. And this is how it differs with what was signed in Bomas.
Absolutely.
Because it was a process, and this process...
And they already asked for ballot boxes.
I agree.
This process started and was completed at the polling station. And that was clear. And why was it so this time round? Because last time, the Supreme Court actually agreed to some extent there was no proper verifiability of what happened at the polling station as compared to what was happening at the server and Bomas of Kenya. Okay. So the Supreme Court of Kenya did make a ruling that in the general election of 2022, the election must be conducted, completed, announced, verified, everything at the polling station. And so if you want to query anything now,
Honorable Kagusha, let's take a look at the
polling station.
Come to us at Citizen TV Kenya, at Sam Gichuku. The hashtag to use is daybreak. Kenyans on what they have to say this morning. Godi Baraza, you're saying that at this point in time, members from both political divides must cede their hardline positions and work around the idea of unifying the country, reviving the economy, and creating opportunities for struggling Kenyans. Oringe Waswa, it should be on record that what Raila Odinga is proposing as the formula for dialogue is a broad-based and all-inclusive approach where all aggrieved parties will reach an agreeable consensus. KK administration should embrace this format. All right, Honorable Lilian COA, you said that bipartisan approach is important and an effective way of solving issues raised by Azimio leader, and therefore, as a country, we must have political goodwill to achieve this. As a country, going back on the streets is not the way to go. Bob Otieno, you can't kill two birds with one stone. Azimio Kenya should choose one way, whether dialogue or protests. They can't have all things going their way. I don't know why, Fred, you're laughing. Magua, you're saying that reintroduction of subsidies on essential commodities will play a big role in cushioning Kenyans against the impact of the high cost of living for a short-term period, as the two sides, Azimio and Kenya Kwanza, engage in finding a long-term solution for it. And Billy Otieno, let's be truthful. 2 kg of unga is still retailing at 200 shillings in Kapenguria town. Where is this 150 shilling unga? We are also waiting for gas to be sold at 300 shillings to 600 shillings as promised. And indeed, so much more that Kenyans are saying on Twitter. Continue the conversation, and thank you for your feedback. We are practically out of time, so thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Kagusha from Ukureni, Gladys Boss from Uasin Gishu, but also the Deputy Speaker, National Assembly, and Fred Okango from Kanu, the Political Affairs Secretary there. We are hoping to be joined by Senator of Kisii, Richard Onyonka. He hasn't joined us, clearly, but anyway. That's our time. No, it's wrong about you. That's our time, and thank you for bringing Lenana School to studio. Up next is Sporty Monday. Willis Rabru will be here to tell you about why it's been a very peaceful weekend. Tijan Sila is also here, and we enjoy the peace. Flattening the curve must happen as soon as possible. My name is Sam Gituku. Bye for now. See you tomorrow.